Welcome back to Awesome Possum Hobbies and Games. I'm Chris, and today we got another commander deck for Murzak Karlov Manor. This one is the Deadly Disguise. Let's go ahead and open it up and check it out and see what's going on. Let's go! So it's time to open up this latest commander deck at Murders at Karlov Manor. This is Deadly Disguise. It is a red, green, and white deck. It's all about disguise and big surprises. What's included here is a 100 card deck, 99 card deck, plus a bunch of counters and one commander, and one collector sample pack, which is kind of to me, it's usually always a letdown. They could have done so much better as a sample pack. You know, you're paying. The price point for these days, full retail price is about $50. If you buy them at your local game store at release weekend, then it's about $50. If you wait, some of these boxes are going to go up in value because of the contents of the cards. Some of them are going to go down in value pretty quick. So one of the things you're going to see on here is lots and lots of little counters, and inside here is a little pamphlet that talks about the actual contents of the deck, which I don't really look at. It talks about the deck and the commander rules. And to me, that's kind of goes straight in the recycle, and a bunch of cutout tokens, which I always throw that right in the recycling right away. And also in here is commander collector sample pack. And a cardboard box. Garbage box. I mean, that's not going to protect your deck very long. And it's only good enough for, it's big enough to put, is it even big enough to put, hey, I bet you could sleeve the deck and put it in there, but not going to be worth it. But the other thing that's in here, which is actually kind of worth it, is a spin down counter, not spin down counter, but a spinner life counter. And these are cool. I have about 20 of them now, and they never get old. I like to give them to new players because they're pretty good. But the box goes straight in the recycler, and the deck itself. We have a trusty knife because I don't trust those little pull tabs anymore. To me, anytime that they try to be helpful, that usually ends up being ways of ruining your cards. The commander for this is going to be Cost, Eye of the Glade, 1 green and a combination color of red and white, which is a 2/2 legendary creature, Dryad Detective. Whenever a creature you control was turned face up this turn, combat damage and deals combat damage to a player, you could draw a card and then tap. Turn target face down, attacking creature you control face up. So you're not paying that ridiculous cost of 5 or more mana. And it doesn't necessarily just work with cards that are with that new mechanic. Let's see if they have that token. That new mysterious creature effect, but it also works with your manifest cards and your morph cards. So those morph cards can get rather expensive pretty quick. So this allows it just to turn them straight up face up without having to pay that morph cost. And I think that's pretty cool. That actually makes a lot of those morph cards worthwhile. And this deck comes with 2 cards. It comes with a thick stock card, which you can't really shuffle. And it's about 3 to 4 times the thickness of our standard Magic card. And look at that. It doesn't have a curl like these thinner Magic cards. Wizards, I know you're trying better, but still pretty bad, especially when you're paying $50 for a deck. You guys need to do better. So let's go ahead and move along with the deck and see what's inside. First one is Duskana, the Rage Mother, for 1 white, 1 green, 1 red, 2 colorless. It's a 5/5, and when this card enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control with base power and toughness of 2/2. And whenever a creature you control with base power and toughness 2/2 attacks, it gets +3/+3 till end of turn. Wow. It's really good. Well, let's go ahead and focus in here a little bit for these cards. Nice. Next one is True Identity, which is a rare from this commander set. 1 white, 1 colorless. When this card or another permanent you control is turned face up, scry 1, then draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn, and it has a disguise, so you can flip face up for just 1 if it's face down. Unexplained Absence, 1 white, 3 colorless, instant. For each player, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls. For each permanent exiled this way, its controller cloaks the top card of their library. And what a cloak means is it just becomes face down and becomes a 2/2 creature that has Ward 2. Veiled Ascension, 1 white, 3 colorless enchantment. This is a new card from the set, and when this card enters the battlefield, put a flying counter on each face-down creature you control. Face-down creatures you control enter the battlefield with a flying counter on them. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may cloak the top card of your library. Gets you an extra card every turn when you have that in play. That's really good. Bolt Bender, 1 red, 3 colorless. It's a 4/2 with disguise of a red and white, so you can flip your card over for those 2 mana. And when it's turned face up, you may choose new targets of any number of other spells or abilities that are currently on this deck. Show-stopping Surprise, 2 red, 3 colorless. Choose target creature you control, turn it face up if it's face down, then it deals damage to its power to each other creature for only 5 mana. Yep, you can turn over a creature that, or using this, or you can turn it over using this spell, and it's going to do some damage. Teska, Judas Hellhound, 1 red, 3 colorless, legendary creature, elemental dog. Unleash. You may have this creature enter the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. It can't block as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. Other dogs you control have Unleash, and creatures you control with counters on them have haste. Whenever this card attacks, add a red mana for each attacking creature. So you get that red mana during your attack phase. Hopefully you can flip over some more cards. Experiment 12, 1 green, 3 colorless creature, elf lizard warrior, 4/4 trample. And when this card or another creature you control is turned face up, put +1/+1 counter on a creature equal to its power. So when this one comes face up, it becomes an 8/8. Yes, that's huge. And it has Disguise of 5. Print Lifter, Ooze, 1 green, 1 colorless creature, Ooze, 2/2, Death Touch. When this creature or another creature you control is turned face up, create a 0/0 green Ooze creature token with trample. The token enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of other creatures you control. It has Disguise of 4. Panoptic Projector, 4 colorless mana artifact. The next face-down creature you cast this turn costs 3 less to cast. So the next face-down creature spell you cast. So if you want to go through and play this guy, it's face down, you can tap this card and put it in play for free, pretty much. If turning face down, permanent face up causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Good card. Ransom Note. We've seen this one before. It should not be a rare since they've printed it in multiple boxes. One colorless mana. It's an artifact clue. When it enters a battlefield, surveil 1. Costs 2 mana. Sacrifice Ransom Note. Choose 1, cloak the top card of your library, go target creature, or draw a card. Ugin's Mastery. This card is pretty darn cool to have in this as an include. Costs 4 colorless. Excuse me. It's an enchantment. Whenever you cast a colorless creature spell, manifest the top card of your library. So when you put a card face down, you get to grab a card from the top of your deck and put it face down, and it counts as a 2/2 creature. Whenever you attack with creatures total power 6 or greater, you may turn a face down card creature face up. Nice. Austere Command, 2 white, 4 colorless. Choose 2. Destroy all artifacts. Destroy all enchantments. Destroy all creatures with mana value 3 or less. Destroy all creatures with mana value of 4 or greater. Yeah, that's a great include for this because you can destroy all those bigger creatures. And Dust does the same thing by costing two white, 2 colorless, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. And then it has Aftermath. Aftermath is cool. Aftermath, so when it's in its graveyard, you can cast it. Return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. Exalted Angel. This is interesting. We haven't seen this one printed in a while. I hasn't seen much play as of recently, except for in true Angel decks, but there has been a significant number of Angels printed in the last, I don't know, in the last 3 years. So this one's kind of dropped out of the standard Angel decks, but this is a good include here because it has Morph. So it's a 2 white, 4 colorless, 4/5 flying. Whenever Exalted Angel deals damage, you gain that much life. And the morph cost is 2 white, 2 colorless, so you can flip that 4/5. Comes up. Flip the 2/2 morph creature into being a 4/5. Fell the Mighty. Destroy all creatures with power greater than target creature's power. So if you target your morph creature, all creatures bigger than that are going to die. Hidden Dragon Slayer, 1 white, 1 colorless, lifelink. It's a 2/1 with a human warrior with lifelink that has a Megamorph. So Megamorph is a little bit different than regular morph. You pay the white and 2 colorless. You may cast this card for face down for 3, and then you turn it face up, and then Megamorph you get to put a +1/+1 counter on it, which just becomes a 3/2 instead. And when it turns face up, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater and opponent controls. Fun. Master of Pearls. This is a interesting include. It's a good little morph card. 1 white, 1 colorless, morph, a cost of 5. When it is turned face up, creatures you control get +2/+2. Mastery of the Unseen. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, you gain 1 life for each creature you control, and then you can pay a white and 3 colorless, manifest the top card of your library. Mirror Entity. This is a cool include, especially because it is a changeling and it can affect all the stuff that is currently face down. For 1 white, 2 colorless changeling, it's a 1/1. Until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness of XX, where X and gain all creature types. Interesting. Welcome Vampire. This is a good include because it allows you to draw some extra cards. 1 white, 2 colorless. It's a creature vampire. It's a 2/3 flying. When 1 or more creatures with power 2 or less enter the battlefield under your control, you can draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn, so it makes up one card a turn, which is always pretty good. Chroma, Angel of Fury. Yeah, we haven't seen this guy, this girl in a long time. She is a big beats. 3 red, 5 colorless. This spell can't be countered. It's a 6/6. Of course, you can pay 3 to have it as a morph creature, and then once it's face up, though, by paying the 6 mana or tapping your commander, you can have it become a 6/6 flying trample, protection from white and blue, and has fire breathing. Pretty cool. Ash Cloud Phoenix, 2 red, 2 colorless flying. When it dies, return to the battlefield face down under your control. You can pay the morph cost of 6 to have it come face up, and when it's turned face up, it deals 2 damage to each player. And it's a 4/1 flyer. Chaos Warp. This is kind of an auto include in all decks that have red in them. It's good to see it here, though it doesn't really have much value these days. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, put it into the battlefield. Imperial Hellkite, 2 red, 5 colorless, creature dragon. It's a 6/6 that has a morph cost, so you can put it in play for 3 colorless mana, and then you can pay that 8 mana to flip it face up. When it's turned face up, you may search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, and put it in your hand, and then shuffle. There's a lot of dragon cards in here. I bet there's not, but it's interesting to see. Jeskai Will. This is a fantastic card to have for them to have in here. The reason why is because it is not a cheap card to buy these days. I was going to get ready to buy this for another deck. I'm glad to see it here. So I'm going to go through and actually take this out and put another deck. But Jeskai Will. Let's go ahead and go over it though. 1 red, 2 colorless. Choose 1. It's a sorcery. If you control a commander, you can cast a spell. You may choose both. You add a number of red mana for each card in target opponent's hand. And then you can exile the top 3 cards of your library and you can play those cards this turn. Nahib the Eternal. 2 red, 3 colorless. Afflict 3. So whenever this creature becomes blocked, defender player takes 3 damage. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add a red mana for each 1 life your opponent have lost this turn. Hey, there's a dragon. Scourge of the Throne. 2 red, 4 colorless. Creature dragon. 5/5 flying to throne. When this creature attacks the player with the most life or tie with the most life, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And whenever this creature attacks for the first time each turn, if it's an attacking player with the most life or tie for the most life, untap all attacking creatures. After this attack phase, there's an additional combat phase. Yes, big beats. Beast Whisperer. This card's fantastic. 2 green, 2 colorless. It's a 2/3 creature elf. Druid. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you get to draw a card. Here's another morpher. This is a Mega Morpher. 2 green, 1 colorless creature, dinosaur beast, 3/3 death touch. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, you may return Death Mist Raptor from the graveyard to the battlefield face up or face down. Then you can pay 5 to Mega Morph it, to have it come into play with an 8+1/+1 counter if it's face down. Den Protector, 1 green, 1 colorless. Creatures with power less than Den Protector's power can't block it. Mega Morph of 1 green, 1 colorless to, when it comes into play, you can turn face up to give it initial +1/+1, making it 3/2. And when it's turned face up, return target card from the graveyard to your hand. Hooded Hydra. 2 green, X colorless, but most people play it for the morph cost. When it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, and when it dies, create a number of 1/1 snake creature tokens for each +1/+1 counter on it, and then you can morph cost it 5, and when it turns face up, you get to put 5 counters on it. Krosan Cloud Scraper. This is a huge beast mutant. 3 green, 7 colorless creature beast mutants. 13/13. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice this card unless you pay 2 green mana, and the morph cost is 9. But your commander, it's a great card. Krosan Colossus has a morph cost of 8. It's a 9/9 for 9 mana. I think the rest of these, this one's Obscuring Aether. This one's great. 1 green, face down creature spells cost one last mana to cast, so you get to put a face down card for 2 instead of for 3. And then you can pay a green and a colorless to turn this card face down to make it a 2/2. Ochring Frostfang. This is a great include. This guy's always welcome to be seen because it is pretty expensive out there. 2 green, 3 colorless. Attacking creatures you control have Death Touch, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. Return of the Wildspeaker. 1 green, 4 colorless. Choose 1 as an instant. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, or non-human creatures you control get +3/+3. Root Elemental. 2 green, 4 colorless for a 6/5, but it's a morpher, so you can put it in play for 3 face down. And when it's turned face up, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, all for 7 mana. Saurith, the Viper's Fang. 2 green, 2 colorless. It's a legendary creature, human warlock, 3/4. Other tap creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Death Touch. 1 colorless, and tap at other creatures. Untap another creature you control or land you control. Seaboard Muse. This is a great include. This is a fantastic card. 2 green, 3 colorless. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Teamer War Shaman. 2 green, 4 colorless. It's a 4/5, and when it enters the battlefield, manifests the top card of your library. So top card of your library becomes a 2/2 creature manifested. Whenever a permanent you control is turned face up, if it's a creature, you may have it fight another creature you don't control. Great include in this deck. Thelanite Hermit. 1 green, 3 colorless. All saplings get +1/+1. The morph cost is 2 green, 3 colorless. When this card's turned face up, you get to create 4 1/1 sapling tokens. Toski, Bearer of Secrets, 1 green, 3 colorless. Legendary creature squirrel. It's a 1/1, indestructible. When it attacks each combat, if possible, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. Trail of Mystery. This card's great, including this deck. 1 green, 1 colorless. Enchantment. Whenever a face-down creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Then shuffle. When a permanent you control is turn face up, if it's a creature, it gets +2/+2 till end of turn. Another great include in this deck. Whisperwood Elemental, 2 green, 3 colorless. It's a 4/4. At the beginning of your instant, manifest the top card of your library. Sacrifice this creature until end of turn. Face up non-token creatures you control. Gain. When this creature dies, manifest the top card of your library. Yadora Grave Gardener, 1 green, 4 colorless, legendary creature, human druid, not human, treefolk druid. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you may return it to the battlefield face down under its opponent's control. It's a forest land, but you could turn face down creatures. Oh, it's attacking. Darn it! But if you can turn your forest into creatures, then you can flip them face up. That sounds complicated. Decimate, 1 green, 1 red, 2 colorless sorcery. Destroy target artifact, creature, target land, enchantment, and target land. You have to target all of them, otherwise this spell will fizzle. Sidar, Condo of Jamora, 1 white, 1 green, 2 colorless, 2/5 legendary creature, human knight, has flanking. We haven't seen that ability in a long time. Whenever a creature without flanking blocks this creature, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn. Creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. As partner. Lifecrafter's Bestiary. This card's great. It's good to include in this deck. Cost 3. At the beginning of your upkeep, you scry 1 whenever you cast a creature spell. You may pay a green. If you do, draw a card. Another great include in this deck. Scroll of Fate. 3 colorless mana. Taps. Manifest a card from your hand. Put that card on the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature. Turn it face up anytime for its mana cost. That's a great include. Now into the rare land. They always try hard. They don't quite achieve what they need to with these rare lands, but they try. Canopy Vista. It's a forest plains. Canopy Vista enters the battlefield tap unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Hey, the same one, but it is a mountain forest, so it produces red and green. Exotic Orchard. It's a good include. Add 1 mana of any color of a land an opponent can produce. Fortified Village. As it enters the battlefield, you reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, this card enters the battlefield tapped. Same one, but for mountains and plains. Same one, but for mountains and forests. But it's they guys don't have land types, which is unfortunate. Crescent Wolf Run. This is a cool rare. It's not a great rare, but it's a cool rare. Taps produce a colorless mana, or you can pay a red and a green, and X mana. Target creature gets +X/+0 and gains trample until end of turn. Mossfire Valley. It's a land that you pay a colorless mana, tap it, and produces a green and red. Mosswort Bridge. This is a great reprint. We haven't seen these in a while. They've been reprinted before, but this one, it's a great green card. It goes on almost every single green deck. Hideaway 4. When this land enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 of them face down, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and enters the battlefield tap, which is the only disadvantage about it. It taps to produce a green mana, a green, and tap it. You may play the exile card without paying its mana cost if creatures you control have whole power 10 or greater. Scatter Groves. These are pretty good. It is a cycling land, so you can pay 2 mana to discard it to draw a card. And once it's in play, it comes to play tapped, and it counts as a forest and plains. Same as the above, but it is a mountain and forest. Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. It taps to reduce a colorless mana, but if you have, if you're casting a colorless spell, it produces 2 colorless mana. If you have 7 or more lands, which I don't know if that's necessarily a great include in that deck. Sungrass Prairie is kind of like one of the other lands we've seen previously, but pay a colorless mana and tap this land to produce a green and white. Temple of Abaddon. This is a great series of lands. These are the Temple land. Temple of Abaddon enters the battlefield taps. When the temple enters the battlefield, you get the scry one, and it taps reduce red and a green. Same as above, but taps produce a green and a white. Same as before, but it produces a red or white. Another great include in this deck, Path to Exile. This is an uncommon from many sets ago that has got the same price point as a lot of rares these days because of how often it is played. Path to Exile is a 1 white. Instant, exile target creature. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle. Now we're going to go into some of the uncommons. We'll just stop and see if there's any uncommons worthwhile to actually go over. Ooh, there's one. Nature's Lore. This one's a very good uncommon. It's searches your library for a forest card, not a basic forest, and then you get to put it on the battlefield. Most times it's going to be tapped, but that's only if it's a special land. And it's all that for a green and colorless. Sakura's Tribe Elder, 1 green, 1 colorless. Sacrifice this card to search your library for a basic land card. Put that card on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. 3 visits. Yeah, this is a great included in this deck because I believe these are going between $3 and $5 each, which is pretty incredible. But if you're playing with those non-basic lands, it's you can search your library for a forest card. So it could be a non-basic land that counts as a forest, and then put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle. Wild Growth. Not great to include. It's not like incredibly expensive, but 1 green, enchants a land, and whenever an enchant land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an extra green mana. Arcane Signet. A Soul Ring. Command Tower, and Jungle Shrine. I think the rest are going to be pretty ooh, Scatter Peaks. This is a recent reprint. It counts as a mountain or a plains. Temple of False Sky, which I don't think is a great include. The rest are going to be basic lands. So we've gone over the deck. Let's go through and see the Collector's Booster Sample Pack and see if there's anything that's worthwhile. This is 2 cards from the latest set, and there we go. So first one is going to be a uncommon with a foil that is of the this is a showcase card, but the real winner here is a showcase card for the rare. Krenko, Baron of Tin Street, 1 red, 2 colorless. Legendary creature goblin, haste, and then it taps, sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on each goblin you control. Whenever an artifact is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay a red mana. If you do, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It gains haste till end of turn. Well, there you go. That is the latest Deadly Disguise Commander deck from the Murders at Karlov Manor set. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you all have any questions, please list it in the comments below. I can't wait to update this deck and actually build it into a mean fighting machine, putting in some of those tri-lands, the triomes, and more of the correct lands to be able to make this deck a heavy hitter. Well, if you guys have any questions, please list them in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great time and keep them rolling.
And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take the time to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to stay updated. Have a great day and keep them rolling.